This comes to us by a friend of the channel who I worked with previously. He brings the news. Who are the woke 40k YouTubers? He also keeps an eye on the books, a very close eye, and he tells us what is happening in the new novels. So, based on his knowledge and what he discovered in the past a year or a year and a half, I was able to bring you some, well, horrible news again, unfortunately. So, it's from Chainsword 40k over on Twitter that we know all of this. So, I also actually reached out to him, so I'm just waiting for him to respond if we can do something together. But here are the news. So, first, what he wrote like on the top is like actually after this. Before. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. My apologies. Oh, Jesus Christ, man! My dust allergies are amazing. So, buyers beware. Mike Brooks strikes again, sneaking leftist ideology into 40k. In his novel, Voidscarred, he includes multiple they-them characters and gay romance between the main characters. At this point, he is worse than Gav Thorpe at ruining the Eldar. Just to add more context, the craftsword Farseer in the book is referred to with the they-them pronouns, and there's also a character called Baron X instead of Baron or Baroness, because apparently Eldar are now gender fluid in Mike Brooks' version of 40k. I have no words. I really have no words, guys. I mean, this is a travesty. And as far as I understood from one other 40k creator, there's a literal depiction of intercourse. Yes, between the Eldar. I mean, Warhammer is not usually about anything that has to do with any sexual stuff at all. Not even a little bit. Now, I'll have to remove myself for a second and fix my nose. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Hold on. I am back. Okay, guys, this is very unexpected. Okay. So, this has absolutely no business being in 40k, and we know it. If you read any book or know anything about Warhammer 40k, you will definitely know that there's almost nothing when it comes to sexual interactions between people depicted in Warhammer 40k. There are some Slaneshi things that are so niche and so rare in some particular books that yeah, I mean, it's neither here and there, but usually Warhammer 40k is not Game of Thrones, and what I what I found out about this is just like Game of Thrones. There is absolutely no sexual stuff like that usually, and that's why I actually love 40k. I mean, it's one of the many reasons, but it's definitely one of the reasons that I love it, besides being extremely unique and amazing, because I don't have to deal with that and being stressed out that when I'm listening to a book I will hear like whatever I hear. I have no idea. I never read this book yet, so I don't know exactly word by word how it's depicted, but I know that they're doing it. So this is needless, of course. We know that. And I talked about before what Mike Brooks did. Pronouns, some it just a lot. So now let me read you who are these Eldar, because that's probably going to be an excuse for some people why they are gay. But there's no excuse for putting modern ideology and they and thems in a universe that doesn't exist, and it's 40,000 years in the future, for goodness sakes. So, let me see. So, Voidscarred means, of course, void. Dark expanse of space. Scarred is marked, so basically Voidscarred literally means scarred by the void. Eldar who have lived for so long among the stars that they have been permanently shaped physically, mentally, and spiritually by the dangers of the void. So that probably means gay for Mike Brooks. There are corsairs, rogue Eldari who don't belong to Kraft's worlds of the Drukhari city of Komorrah. They live outside of structured society and are often seen as wild, unpredictable, and dangerous, a blend of the discipline of Kraft warders and the cruelty of Drukhari. In some newer lore, like Mike Brooks' Voidscarred, the term is used for Corsair kill teams or individuals who have been transformed by their experiences into something between hero and outcast. Okay, so I guess this is the excuse, guys. This is 100% the excuse why these Eldar are gay. Great. So what do you guys think? But of course, I can't wait to hear from Chainsword if he replies to me. He was gone for months and months. He had some personal things to deal with. But if he replies, maybe we can do something together. And here's what he wrote like above all of this. Queer used to be a slur, yet leftist where it is a badge of honor. I propose we do the same with faggot. You can have agate friendly spaces, identify as a agate, have a agate community, and so on. It would be hilarious. That's what he wrote. That's what he wrote. Now, I'm gonna get back to his page, see if he posted anything, but I don't see anything, guys. If there's anything, I'm gonna put it here in the chat. So, this is what I saw. This is what I just saw. First of all, I post my replies as image because I don't have premium and I need to essay to give a proper response. Secondly, I posted on my main because all the ban corn advocates need to see this. And here he posted freaking John De La Rose. So I'm curious what the heck happened here. Counterpoint, the proliferation of corn has led to all the LGBTQ nonsense getting normalized because it's about normalizing fetishes. If people see it more, they get more degenerate and it needs to be stopped. Okay, this is what he said. That he replied to Chainsword. Let's see what Chainsword said. Can you see this? No, I mean it's cut. I'm gonna fix it. Fixing it. Let's see. 200. Okay, you can see it. Okay, you can see it. Let's go. So Chainsword says, I respectfully disagree. While normalizing all the gender stuff was a problem, it was not corn that led us to the current problem. Over the past 10 years, changes have largely been driven by activism and mainstream media, not corn. The bigger issues were insane LGBTQ teachers, schools that allowed it, the rise of gender studies, normalizing it in public spaces with flags and affirmation. Surgeries for kids, the most importantly, parents who treated their children as fashion accessories or political statements. Corn was just a small part of the problem, a symptom. It's not like corn with pissing or scat made people piss on others or shit on streets, except maybe in India. Oh my gosh. Oh, hi to Matata Baraka, by the way. Thank you so much. Also, Peter. Of corn. Okay, of corn. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna check chat after everything because we have to keep it this as tight as possible. And then I'm gonna address the chat after we're finished with this topic. Joking aside, try to take a step back and look at the big picture without emotion. Very important because we only like dive head first with emotion and then we think. First we have to think and then supplement thinking with emotion. First reason, then emotion. I cannot stress this enough how important this is, guys. We all have to be like that, otherwise we're gonna turn into the leftist people. I get your point. You don't want kids consuming corn because they're already exposed to a lot of degeneracy, but it's not really about corn. It's just a smokescreen to push digital IDs, face scans, and other Orwellian shit for control. The same shit the left did to us over the last decade, canceling controlling narratives, banning from wrong thinking, and all of that. Corn is a symptom of a lack of education and communication, and honestly, most of the time, it's the parents' fault, same as what's happening now with Thrones. Treating the symptom won't cure the disease. Trying to ban corn across the board is like trying to get rid of a spider by burning down the house instead of destroying the nest. The potential consequences of statewide control are far worse than simple exposure to corn, which can be mitigated with good education and dialogue. Maybe, just maybe, before banning anything, we should focus on getting rid of uh, getting rid of the they them clowns parading half naked in the streets and shouting insane shit about made up genders. Kids will find another way to watch corn anyway, probably more damaging and harder to control. And then what? Ban other forms of pornography, censor gaming, comics, and movies? There's a real risk that all these forms of control won't work, which I believe they won't because it's unrealistic. People would just switch to VPNs or use other potentially more unrelegated sites, leaving us with what we didn't want: corn, widely accessible, plus government tools for control. It's like in gaming, always online DRM, only fucked legitimate users because pirates crack those games anyway. Oh my god. Okay, first, that's the first paragraph. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. John De La Rose basically is way off, because he is coming off only from the religious side. And if you know anything about John De La Rose, this is what he does. He always tries to preach morals and all, but it's coming not from a based place of, not agenda place. I don't know how to say it. But yeah, basically, guys, he's very religious. Um, he's very hypocritical because everything that he says, he actually doesn't do. He stole a woman's identity to pretend that this is him. I mean, this is her, and she wrote the book, but actually it was him. It was a long story. It was a long story. Guys, I mean, I covered John De La Rose many times. He had some stream with Smash JT. He's a gaming YouTuber that I consider, you know, one of the people that I look up to on YouTube. And he basically grilled Smash JT on stream. Smash came with very good intentions, but John De La Rose was disingenuous, disgusting. He mocked Smash JT. It was so horrible, and this comes from a man that is a man of faith, but he isn't. Everything that he says, he pretends. So when he says that he hates corn or whatever corn, and he wants to turn it into the LGBT nonsense, whatever he wrote here, it's because he's just pushing his religious things. I personally don't like corn at all. Corn does have negative effects on the brain, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. And I also see in real life how men could be damaged by that and totally ruin their sexual life. So again, very long topic, not gonna get into that, and that's not the point. That's totally not the point of the conversation. The point is this whole thing with Mike Brooks and what John De La Rose commented, which was basically irrelevant. How Chainsaw just showed. Let me drink some water. because a lot of talking. Next, its reality is not really about the kids, is it? Because from what I've seen, some uh, Puritans are advocating for total corn removal even for adults. Mark my words, before the end of next year, there will be a digital ID requirement in every major app if you want to have full functionality. You can already see the first steps in the EU. The European Commission plans to roll out a digital identity wallet capable of conducting age checks by the end of 2026 under the European Digital Identity Regulation. Just this week, Denmark pushed for a regulation requiring a digital ID to use social media at all. Already on Twitter, you have age verification you can bypass without paying, and doxing yourself by providing your ID or face. Expand this to other sites, entertainment, games, etc., and you are creating infrastructure that can be used to monitor everyone, potentially leading to a slippery slope of surveillance and control. Just look at the shit happening in the UK right now. If you want an example, with people getting arrested for posting wrong opinions on social media or even for reading a post someone else wrote, we'd be trading one form of censorship for another. Now imagine that somehow, which is increasingly likely the more of this shit Puritans try to pull, the left wins again and we have all those systems in place. We'll be so effed that we'd look back nostalgically at the times they only canceled us for or made us lose our jobs. You and everyone else who says ban corn right now need to think about it for a while. Analyze it from a logical perspective. Let the consequences sink in. Just to make my stance clear before someone shows up shouting Gunnar, you're defending Pornhub. I couldn't care less if Pornhub burned to the ground. What I'm against is opening the floodgates to internet control. I already fought that shit back in 2012, and it's exactly the kind of thing that made a lot of people turn to the left in the first place. I didn't fight the woke agenda for a decade just to end up under the control of another group or to let the left win because that group isn't any smarter than the left. If this continues, we will be snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, and we haven't fully won yet. The culture war has only swung in our favor. If we are careless, we could be back to square one or even worse within a few years. Yes, of course, guys. When you can, protest the freaking ID, the digital ID, because this is going to create like a police situation for all of us, and it's going to be a living nightmare. So whatever we can do to protest that, we should in each of our countries. And third one, TLDR. I've summarized some facts for easier digestion. You can easily verify them online through analysis or by using basic logical cause and effect reasoning. Yes, of course, chain sword, but unfortunately, many people have no reasoning, let alone cause and effect reasoning, which should be, but yeah, should be by default, but it's not. Okay, number one, blocking Pornhub or similar sites usually redirects traffic rather than eliminating consumption. Total pornography use in a country rarely changes drastically. It mainly shifts how people access it through VPNs, mirrors, and alternative sites. Number two, bans typically motivate kids to find alternative methods which can be more dangerous in the long run. Censorship doesn't eliminate demand. It simply makes the internet more dangerous and less transparent. Exactly, actually that's a very good point. 3. Any mechanism to enforce the ban, such as age verification, facial recognition, or tracking, requires storing sensitive user data, which can be misused or leaked. Number 4. Once governments build infrastructure to block certain content, those tools can be repurposed for broader censorship, creating a slippery slope of increasing restrictions. Number 5. Corn bans or bans of any kind regarding children do not replace the need for proper guidance and education. Parental guidance and education are far more effective than censorship alone. Good parenting can solve many problems. Absolutely. I mean, I grew up absolutely fine. I mean, me, not everybody, but this is why I have, good parents that have good marriage and they're together and they still love each other and they taught me a lot. Mostly my grandma, actually. My grandma is the best. She taught me a lot. Yeah, but that's the point. If you have good parents, good grandparents, you have a great foundation, and then of course, you have good brain. You're just better at judging people, and you don't get into groups with kids that are bad for you, and understand that they're bad for you if those things are explained to you beforehand, to know the differences, because you can say, well, Gary, you can end up in a very bad group with other kids. Yes, you can, but if you're a very smart kid, you'll not go with them. I mean, I always been a lone wolf, so I understand how that is, because there was very bad influences around me, but I stood tall and I was just minding my own business. That's why I got a lot of bullying. But then again, I stood tall and I got over this. Eventually found some friends that were like more like-minded, and all of that. So it's all about building a character, and then not getting with the bad people. Even if you're the outcast, better be by yourself, but be a quality person than be with the group that is absolute cheap. Yeah. Okay. Number 6. The right succeeded in part because people could remain anonymous. Otherwise, many would not have risked their jobs or social um, ostracism to criticize the left. If you remove that anonymity by opening the floodgates of censorship, future support will collapse. Number 7, victory was also influenced by centuries shifting towards the right. These people won't vote right again if Christians start crusading against them, and that's exactly what some are doing right now. Historically, number 8, historically, excessive moral policing drove church followers away, especially those with less, uh, what is that? Puritanic, this is very hard to read. Puritanical views, right into the hands of the left. This is just a lot smaller for me than it's for you. It's not really about children. Corn is just a smokescreen, a convenient excuse to push broader internet control, censorship, and surveillance under the guise of protecting children. The real goal is building tools for censorship and control, and once they exist, they will be used far beyond their original purpose. If all those arguments haven't made you or others pushing for corn bans reflect on this, there's nothing more I can say without just repeating myself. Yes, Jane Sword, you are correct. Especially when I talked to him personally, it became absolutely clear to me that he is super based, and everything that he says is very well measured. Very well measured. So whatever John de la Rose wants to push, just because religious reasons, I would say, guys, about corn, I mean, you gotta inform yourself how it acts on the psyche, all those things. Just everybody educate themselves and decide whether or not you should watch it or not watch it. That's it, really. It's your choice. The point is for us to have a choice, because if we don't have a choice, things like that happen. I'm gonna take a look at your comments before we move on, but really, it's very unfortunate that once again, another Warhammer 40k book is destroyed, and the lore is destroyed by an author that just wants to push his own ideology into the book where it does not belong at all. I mean, before we had gay authors of many things, but if they if they have just written their own stuff, everything's gonna be fine. They can be gay in real life if they want. They can watch porn in real life if they want to. But if they have to write, let's say, children books, they have to write a children book, right? Is there anyone left believing John de la Rose? John de Furos? Yes, that's funny. Well, yeah, there is. There always is. Azarat says, I pity the Elder fans. They get a single book every now and then, and suddenly here comes Mike making it gayer. Yes, you're correct. And also, the fifth courier. Hey, the fifth courier. Hi to you, by the way. Bro made one good lion book, and now he fucks everything up. Yes. Oh, he did actually put some, try to push some pronouns in there. I don't know what to tell you, really. Was he a furry? Says Nazco. Yes, he is. He does like furry stuff. Okay, guys, I do have to drink things because otherwise I can't survive talking for so long. Now, on to the next topic. You see what the next topic is? Hold on. Meh. I'm getting ready. It's gonna be as fast as possible. Okay. And we have Major Q again. This time it's for a very good reason, actually. Let me put the audio on. So this is about a guy that has been sued. That GW is suing because he has miniatures. He has a company for miniatures, and some of them does look like Games Workshop's miniatures, but they are not suing him for copyright infringement. They're suing him for unfair competition, and that's because he sells STLs and GW does not sell STLs. And with STLs you can 3D print your own things. So this is where the problem lies. Now let's hear from Major Kill because he has a company and he knows what he's talking about. So for this kind of a thing, I think that he can definitely say something. So let's hear him.
Oh, don't worry, this isn't drama. I haven't killed anyone or said any slurs or anything. At least not on camera. There is, however, quite an interesting and almost unprecedented. Hey guys and gal, no, don't worry, this isn't drama. I haven't killed anyone or said any slurs or anything. At least not on camera. There is, however, quite an interesting and almost unprecedented situation happening in the miniature space right now. Games Workshop is suing Ghamak, one of the largest third-party miniature companies in the world, featuring a team of 12 modelers who have produced thousands of models and licensed their models to dozens of stores. There is a very high chance you've seen a Ghamak model, even if you didn't realize it at the time. Now, as someone who owns my own miniature company and has spoken with the GW legal team in the past, more than once, I am uniquely qualified to speak on this situation and offer my thoughts to give you a bigger perspective on things, with the hope that we can figure out if this is a case of GW bullying a small team of modelers, seeing if they can get away with it as a first step to copyright slamming the entire third-party miniature industry, or if Ghamak was taking the piss with their models and GW has finally had enough and is rightfully protecting their IP. Now, GW throwing around its lawyers doesn't sound unprecedented, but actually going ahead with the lawsuit is. Usually they just threaten you and you either comply and they move on, or you tell them to suck eggs and they also move on. Them going ahead is actually pretty wild. I will be unbiased in this video. Some people think I'm on GW's payroll and I'm like a secret shill for them, which is retarded. GW don't even have a functioning influencer program, let alone dark money under the table. And I've always called them out when I think they've gone too far. However, I also believe that just because you're a big company and Ghamak is a small company, that Ghamak isn't immediately to all criticisms.
Hold on. What was that? End of TTS, a sad day in Warhammer 40k fan. Yeah, but I covered that story. It was like a few years ago by this point, but technically they didn't go after Brava Alpha Boozer. they went after other creators and he just decided to stop doing TTS. They didn't send him cease and desist or anything of the sort. He just decided to not do it, to not risk his channel. But all the videos were already there, so if they want to take him down, they can for every video. But he decided to just not do the finale just because of this. So I covered this many times. So I don't know how Major Kill called GW out because they didn't go to Alpha Busa and said, "Stop it right now, what you're doing." He just decided to do that before anything happens. So I have no idea what that is. I mean, yeah, this does not seem like a proof that he called them out because they didn't do anything, and in that case at least. But okay, let's continue.
Always called them out when I think they've gone too far. However, I also believe that just because you're a big company and Ghamak is a small company, that Ghamak isn't immediately to all criticisms and can do no wrong. The purpose of this video is to draw attention to the matter and provide all perspectives on it, because regardless of who is in the right or wrong, more people being aware of it is never a bad thing. Now let's get into it. So Ghamak released a video detailing the situation, his previous interactions with GW, and how it appears that GW is going ahead with the lawsuit, posting his GoFundMe to help with the legal fees. I'll have his video linked below, and if you want to support him, the link to his GoFundMe is on that video. For the sake of simplicity, we're going to assume that everything Ghamak says in his video is 100% accurate. Ghamak says that in 2023, GW reached out and does the usual GW legal strategy. They say, "Fuck you, you're infringing, here is a big scary letter, remove most of your models and suck my penis." After all, I got a similar letter a number of years ago, so did a number of other people. For some people, especially smaller modelers, they will freak out and instantly comply. However, most will come to some sort of agreement. For me, I removed a number of my models that I agree probably went too far in the inspiration department, and I also removed all STLs from my store. Keep that second point in mind. It's very important and I'll come back to it. GW accepted this and we haven't had an issue since. However, in Ghamak's case, GW went pretty hard, asking for 90% of the models to be taken down, for Ghamak to hand over all their data and creative rights, and GW refused to speak to them beyond just big scary legal letters. In this instance, it's clear GW just wanted to smash Ghamak.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that if they ask for like so many of the models to be taken down, that's just not fair because yeah, some of them really look very close to GW and he's gonna show that, we're gonna see it. I would say just ask for these because they're really close, but others that have nothing to do by design, nothing, absolutely nothing to do with 40k by design, they shouldn't be taken down. So I think that GW seems to be very far off on that point for sure. This seems very unfair, this particular part. If they just ask for only the models that look like theirs to be taken down, I totally get it. But 90 something percent, that's just crazy and totally uncalled for.
As opposed to getting a level of submission that they could take to the exec team and be like, "We got another one to fall in line." Ghamak refused, and often in these situations, GW will just sort of move on, as it's not really worth their time. And I'll explain why they do that in a bit. I just want to finish giving you the context of the situation first. But in this case, GW filed the lawsuit as they do have the copyright and whatnot for EU, and Ghamak is in Italy. They did not file for copyright infringement, but for unfair competition, which is an interesting one we'll discuss more on. Ghamak frames this as GW coming for small independent creators, flexing control in an industry that it doesn't own, with a warning that if Ghamak falls easily, GW will be emboldened to then target all the artists and small companies that make sci-fi or fantasy miniatures, which may even include major minis. Something that I do love is Ghamak saying that he wants this to go to court, not just to protect himself, but because a court can set a true precedent about how far GW's rights extend and where the artistic freedom and inspiration can begin and be safe. This is a huge point because at the moment it's such a massive grey area. At the end of the day, GW didn't invent elves, dwarves, sci-fi super soldiers, golden warriors, flaming swords, demons, orcs, insectoid cosmic hungering horrors, and so on. Warhammer itself was massively inspired by Lord of the Rings, Dune, and even Star Wars, so it is a bit of an eyebrow raiser when they try to act like they are the source of all sci-fi and fantasy tropes and designs.
Yeah, that's another thing. Although 40k basically transformed a lot of the old types of concepts about characters like the orcs and elves, in this case Eldar, so they look completely original and they have their own original lore, so they absolutely did their job in making sure that whatever they have is strictly unique. So although they didn't invent the concepts, or they didn't invent the orcs or the elves or whatever, they made sure that their orcs and elves and whatever are extremely amazing in the original. So there's that. I'm just saying. For those of you that joined a bit late, we already went through the Mike Brooks topic. So now we are on the second topic, which is the GW lawsuit against this guy from Italy who has his own company for, well, basically 3D printed minis.
For example, the Big E model is a big golden warrior wielding a flaming sword and has a king's cloak and kinda looks like a sexy version of Jesus. None of those aspects by themselves are original GW concepts or designs. But there is a line. You can't just say, well, GW doesn't own sci-fi, so I can make my own space marines in the exact same style as theirs and expect no consequences. Does Ghamak cross that line? For a large chunk of their range, no, not at all. Their Akai Shogunate models represent mythological feudal Japan and are awesome. I would even say that their Siderim Knights, despite obviously being space marine proxies, are also fine. Their style is different, their proportions are different, they seem to be like a fresh take and not just a 3D printable GW space marine.
Yeah, these look absolutely so different that GW cannot say that they're theirs. Like, absolutely not.
Army. But some of their models do take the piss. Mostly their Heretic Knight models. Their Hellbrutes and Obliterators are
Yeah. This is obviously too close. Like, look at that. I mean, I see the differences, but that is too close. It is very close.
very similar to official models, as is their Demon Prince.
What the hell? Oh, that's not good. That's just not a good look. I mean, they changed the sword, but everything else, they changed it. I mean, they changed the claw, one arm, how the head looks. Still, it's very similar.
The Belial proxy is also a bit on the nose, alongside a number of their other Dark Angel inspired models. Now, based on my own experience, why is Ghamak getting hit so hard whilst other modelers aren't? Why is GW not coming after me? After all, a lot of other models have also made very inspired models. Well, it's two reasons. The first is that Ghamak offers the STLs for all of his minis. That's his business model. Either his Patreon members who get the minis, or people buying the STLs from My Mini Factory or Colts 3D or whatever, or from Ghamak leasing his models to stores who 3D print and sell his models, like on Etsy or websites like Wargame Exclusive. It's all STL based. GW hates STLs. See, GW knows that no one can really compete with them truly in the physical miniature market. They have insane, amazing, expensive machines, insanely efficient large-scale processors. GW Plastic is awesome. They are dominant in the market because their models are dope, not just in terms of design but also in quality. 3D printing has come a long way and the detail and quality is insane, and you can get incredible resin casted models, but the GW Plastic is just another level. The barrier to entry into that market is so cost prohibitive that no one can really compete to that level, so people buy GW models despite the insane GW price tags. However, the STLs are the one thing that GW doesn't sell and cannot compete with, which is what I believe they are referring to when they say unfair competition. Ghamak making GW proxies and then selling those files to people who can print entire Warhammer armies at next to no cost is what is really ruffling their feathers. If Ghamak was a physical store that didn't sell STLs, I can almost guarantee they wouldn't have been contacted, and if they were, it wouldn't have then led to a lawsuit. This is also why GW isn't coming after the stores selling physical Ghamak models. They aren't worried about physical model competitors, just the STL ones. The second issue is Ghamak's approach to what models they make. For major minis, we make models that are inspired by characters that don't have their own models, such as Ra, or maybe the models are out of production or old as shit, such as the Shark Daddy, or are inspired by a blend of IPs, such as the Chaotic Lich Lord or the Grey Slayer, or they are just entirely unique designs, such as the Wolf Master of the Hunt. We don't make one-to-one proxies of modern GW models. In fact, we often delist our models, such as our Space Elf Avenger Lord, when GW releases their version. And that is without GW contacting us. We want you to use our models to enrich your army and make it unique, not just to replace it. Ghamak's approach, on the other hand, is more along the lines of, why pay $1,000 for the GW army when you can get the proxy STL files for $100 and $50 worth of resin? I'm not saying that makes him a bad person or anything, but I just want to give context on why someone like Ghamak is a target for GW, whereas other companies like Major Minis are not. As probably a better example than Major Minis, Grimskull Miniatures are very inspired, yet because they sell their models exclusively as physicals and they're selling unique hero units as opposed to proxy armies, they aren't really what GW is worried about. In my own honest opinion, I think GW should have been more forthcoming with the dialogue, as opposed to just sending an insane letter of demand followed up by a lawsuit. That's just a dog move. That kind of behavior honestly really hurts GW's approach to this. There are ways to go about things. Yeah, there are definitely models in Ghamak's catalog that take the piss a bit. Yes, I can understand why GW isn't happy that another company is releasing a fully 3D printable army that closely resembles theirs and can be a cheap knockoff replacement, but swinging their lawyers' dongs around just isn't a good look, nor is the way they should approach it. Either way, I'm interested to see how this will go, and the precedent set will be a great indicator for the rest of the industry. As I said, Ghamak's video will be linked below, and his GoFundMe link is on that video as well. Honestly, I might even donate to it myself, despite me being somewhat on the fence, just purely so Ghamak has the fees to get to court and set the legal precedents. Anyway, hope you learned something. Back to the regular law programming.
All right. So yeah, I do agree with what he says. Sounds completely logical. I really hope that they can fight GW in court with that and yes, set a precedent, because we do have to know for sure whether or not STLs can be used or no. Technically, it's a bit of a, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous to let a company like GW just say, no, you cannot use STLs because we said so, because it's unfair competition, because we don't sell them. But then if they sell them, if they sold them, they will still say, well, we sold them. We're also selling them, so yeah, you can sell them. So you can win in both cases. That's how it seems like. But in the other hand, they shouldn't be able to say to people what they can or cannot sell. If you want original GW products, you're gonna still go and buy original GW products. If you want something that kind of looks like that, you're gonna buy the kind of looks like that because you can't afford to buy the GW product. Because GW products are very freaking expensive. So, eh. I mean, it's kind of like with gaming. If you can't buy a game, but you want to try it, sometimes you can pirate it. That's what people do, I'm saying. They pirated the game, they play it, they don't like it, then delete it. They never plan to pay the game, to pay for the real game. They never plan to do that. So the company never lost money. The other variant is I or someone, I'm not saying me, but someone cannot afford to buy a game. Cannot. So they pirate the game again, they play it fully, they like it, and that's it. The company doesn't get anything, but the point still stands that this person could not afford to buy the game in the first place, so the company didn't lose any money. You see? That's how things are in some countries. So technically, in this kind of a way, if somebody can afford to buy the STLs and print their own models, and they prefer this method, they're going to do that anyway. And GW, since they do not offer this service and this method, these files, they cannot be mad that somebody else is doing this as a new way to approach things. That's just how I think, because it's fair game if you sell something that somebody else doesn't offer. You cannot be like, no, I'm the only one who offers this, or doesn't, or I'm the only one who offers these particular products, but you cannot offer something that will totally be an alternative to people. You cannot. Like, why not? I mean, this is totally different, and some people can, absolutely can, and should have the possibility to go for something else. Just another variant, because once again, the GW, whatever it is, it's so extremely expensive, and if you live in a country where my currency it's worth 2 times less than the dollar, almost 2 times, then for me this means that whatever they're selling is going to be 2 times more expensive. So anything that has to do with 3D printing, if I can give a STL file to a friend to 3D print it for me, that's gonna be amazing because now I have to, now I can have my cake and eat it too, and I still didn't pay anything to the GW. In the Chinese site, you can find the Emperor of Mankind as a miniature, and GW doesn't sell that. They don't. So, is it unfair? I'm gonna read the chat, but I have to keep it tight, yes, though. Yeah, this is supposed to be a video later. So, is it fair? Is it fair for, uh, like, for GW to go and say to the Chinese companies, you should not sell the Emperor? But he's not called the Emperor, he's called, like, Golden Warrior or something. I mean, can you even find him? It's very hard to find him, if you want to find him. So, as you can see, I'm pretty sure that this guy is going to gather the money. Hopefully he does, and hopefully he wins. So there's some freedom because GW is already $1 billion company, and people that are true fans and don't care about the controversies around the company and whatever, and they want their authentic original Warhammer 40k armies, they're always going to prefer to buy from GW. Always, always. They're getting the best quality there and all those things. And now guys, I wanted to do the next topic, and yeah, we're gonna do the next topic because it's very short. So let's go. Brothers! That was super loud. Hold on. I don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna read the chat because I promise I'm also a bit lightheaded, so I'm trying to get through this. Let me drink, and I'm gonna try to see what the chat has to offer. What are you guys are talking about? And then we're gonna continue with something funny. Space King. I mean the second Space King. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, Nasco went. Hey, Nasco, I'm sorry I missed ya. So, it's very hard to read. Ratnikangel. I'm sorry if I butchered that. 104 says since game prices are gonna get higher, that's another reason folks are more than likely to pirate. Plus, digital doesn't equal ownership, unlike physical copies. That's the problem as well. Yeah, and the more we go into the future, the less things we own, and that's the problem. And companies think that they can do that to us, but we cannot pirate things at all, right? Is that fair? I don't think so. Okay, Furious Dan. You are not canon. Yes. Well, you can also buy from CD Keys sites that are legit and get better prices. You don't have to buy from Steam, actually. Okay, let's watch this. I already reacted to Space King episode 3. Some people didn't like what me and Logan, my friend with whom I'm doing some content, people just didn't like what we had to say. We did like it a lot, but we didn't think that it's as good as the other two because this is just how we see it. We like a lot of the things that Flash Gets did. We like the Black Templars, furries episodes. We both think that those were more funny and they're the best. They're peak. Space King is amazing. The first episode, the second was also good. This is also good. The third one, we didn't feel it as good as the first one or the second one. It's just how we felt. It doesn't matter if your experience was different and you had a better time. It's all subjective. So a lot of people got offended that we didn't like it as much as the first two episodes, and they actually only heard the negative, but they didn't hear the positives that we said, and there were quite a few positives in the third episode. So I'm just saying this for context if you watch our reaction. Now let's see this. Let's see what this is about. This is just a commercial with some funny parts, but yeah, let's see it.
Thank you for your cooperation during the globule check at the door. We must remain vigilant and ensure the icky oxygen thieves known as girls don't infiltrate and ruin our hallowed spaces. Which brings me to the topic of today's sermon. The class of sub-hominids known as females. Females, or girls, have a few distinct physiological differences from real humans. Firstly, no skin sacs for globule insertion, proving the Space King made them inferior on purpose. Secondly, they contain a pressurized nutrient reactor inside their stomachs that can grow new humans. How do the new humans get there, you ask? Well, I don't know. Now, why did Space King give us these creatures instead of endless boys? It's simple. To tempt us from his path. As a test. Which is why they have these. Boobies. Boobies are evil. We mustn't look at boobies. Boobies would take Space King and reshape it into their image if given the chance. How would they destroy Space King, Hate Monger? Excellent question, Hate Mace. The same way they destroy everything. Commas. This is how much, on average, females spend versus males. Is it any wonder that the greedy money grubbers in charge distort things you love to cater to them? Which is why we must sell untold lunchboxes and garments. But wouldn't that make us the greedy money grubbers? Yes, Hate Mace, but for a good cause. Space King. Brothers, if you wish to be the first line of defense against the ruination of things you hold sacred, then support the survival of things like Space King, so that our crusade may continue. You're not canon. The No Girls Allowed lunchbox and B positive garments are available for a very limited time only.
Okay. I mean, of course it was kind of funny. That is because female space marines. So this is a parody of Space Marines in Warhammer 40k, and the whole thing, the rumors about female custodies and female Space Marines coming eventually to the universe. Female custodies already came, unfortunately. So that is the whole thing, and that's why he says you are not canon. So yeah, totally agree. There should not be any female Space Marines or female custodies. So this is very funny, and of course from their perspective, because they're lunatics, boobs and everything is evil. That has to do with female and feminine and all that, and everything is a joke. So super funny. Okay, I have an amazing message. Hold on, guys. That is great, Yastu. Thank you so much. Okay, so what do you think about this, guys? Let me know in the comments in general. Is it super funny? Some people find it very funny. This is just a commercial though, but they still try to do it, more creatively, which is always good. And now, actually, we have another thing that's closely related to this. Okay, so what is this? This is Jonovich. Jonovich is a fellow 40k YouTuber who now decided to not make Warhammer 40k because of all the lawsuits that GW actually are doing. And they are doing a few. It's not just this guy with the miniatures. They are trying to sue a lot more people. Some of them content creators that did some 40k animations, which is very disturbing and sad. I just want to see something in the chat. Okay. So like I said, we have to keep these tights at these tights. Yeah, that's so funny. We have to keep this tightly on this show tight. So he does 3D animation. He did very cool stuff, and now he did this. So basically, this is Space King in 3D animation. It's so cool. And this is a march loop. So this thing is going for 9 minutes and 41 seconds, I think, or something like that. And just on a loop over and over and over and over. And over again. Sorry about that, guys. It's just very late for me, but I just couldn't start earlier. A lot of things that I did today. So this is pretty cool. Animation is top notch. It's really cool to see how these guys are gonna look in 3D animation. It's just so cool. I don't know which is going to be faster to do 3D animation or the hand-drawn animation, but I would love to see something done like this and be funny and everything. I would just love to see this. And now it just starts to loop. Yeah, it's definitely so cool. He became very good with time with animation. You should see his previous things. I do plan to post the links down below to Jarovich, the video of that guy with the miniatures, everything. So if you like to help, you can. It has to be after the stream though, because I'm just gonna fall asleep any minute. Man, I really sorry. I'm gonna read your comments now, guys, while this is looping. So, Mr. Right, again, Rat Nikangel. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. 104 says, man, I really hate that GW did John Wick like that. Sometimes I wonder who is worse, Disney, Lucasfilm, or GW these days. Well, they actually didn't do anything to John Wick. They did a lot to other people, and he decided to quit, just like Brava Buso decided to quit before anything have been done to him. This is not necessary to happen, but he just wants to be safe. So that's why he's stepping away from Warhammer. He will no longer be doing Warhammer. It's alright if my name is butchered. The nick I came up with in short for not in control. Okay. But it's really hard to read, just letting you know. Okay, guys, so it is super late. I gotta go. I really gotta go. This is very fun. I'm gonna cut these into videos. Let me see if I can send you somewhere on a friend's channel. Okay, we're gonna go and say hi to Arch, a fellow YouTuber. Archcast Warhammer. It's gonna be funny. Let me see what he's streaming exactly. But I think it's something interesting. Let me see. It's a game. It's a game. Yeah, okay. Okay, make sure you say hi from Empress. It's very important, guys, especially if you want us to work together sometimes. So, with that being said, let's go say hi to Arch with me, the 40k Empress. Love you guys. See you next time, and bye-bye.
The 40k Empress leads the way as warriors of the imperium sway into realms where dangers play, where hidden minds hold sway. Through stars and storms we rise, under her watchful eyes, with faith and fire will prevail, for the and cathedral spires. Plots twist like smoldering fires. But with her blade of pure desire, she claims the stars entire. Through stars and storms we rise, under her watchful eyes. With faith and fire we'll prevail, for the imperium must not fail. The imperium we prevail. Through storms and battle cries, her banners pierce the darkened skies. With bolter hymns the traitor dies.